Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S20 and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now when the S20 originally came out 5 years ago, I loved that phone so much. I thought it was such an excellent phone, and I still think in a lot of ways it holds up very, very well. But the Galaxy S25, there's just not that much competition. That is going to be a significantly better phone in most areas, but there are some ways the Galaxy S20 is actually kind of better, and we'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video. Now, if you want to take a look at some of the cheapest phones I would recommend buying this year that are kind of the best values, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the Samsung Galaxy S20, which came out back in 2020, on the front of this panel is giving you a pretty good 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED display. Now, this type of panel was actually pretty decent when it came out. Actually, when it first came out, it was really good. It was 1200 nits of brightness, 1440p, and 120 Hz. This was the first time we saw 120 Hz on their standard Galaxy S lineup, and that was something that I was just loving at the time. I loved basically having that type of capability. It was a really cool thing, and that in and of itself was such a nice thing going on for this type of phone when it came down to it. And if you were to go through and pick up a phone, I definitely do think this in and of itself was a super cool thing going on for this type of device, because it really wasn't that expensive. It was a good priced phone, but it was expensive at the time, but that panel itself was nice, and you were basically getting, it was a 120 Hz panel, hole punch, curved display as well, so it had the curved edges, and that was something that was actually super sick at the time as well. So that right there, I think, was another really cool thing going on for this type of phone when it kind of came down to it. Now on the Galaxy S25, on the other hand, this phone is giving you a 6.2-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So this phone is giving you a 1080p panel and 120 Hz panel at that. Now, what's interesting here is the Galaxy S20 actually does give you a higher resolution panel. So that one's 1440p, the Galaxy S25 is 1080p. So not the biggest deal in the world, but that is one very interesting thing kind of going on there, that the older phone is giving you kind of like a higher resolution panel. Not that big of a deal, but just kind of funny. On the bottom, both of them are giving you USB Type-C ports, which is awesome. On the sides and the back, you're getting a glass back on the Galaxy S20, whereas on the Galaxy S25, you're getting a frosted glass back. So depending on which way you look at this, that could be a really cool thing. It may not be that big of a deal to you, but personally for me, I do like having a frosted glass back. That's usually my go-to, and that is something that I actually do like a lot about these types of phones. So being able to go through and get that type of capability with a frosted glass back is definitely something I actually prefer. You're getting triple camera setups on both. You're getting wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. So those things are actually pretty cool. However, there is a really cool advantage for something like the Samsung Galaxy S20. And that is, with that particular phone, you do actually get a micro SD card slot inside of the Galaxy S20. So this is actually something that is super, super cool. So being able to go through and get that type of capability there, I think is actually really nice. So I do think at the end of the day, from that particular perspective, being able to go through and get that type of phone, I think is actually pretty nice. And without a doubt, that is personally for me a really, really cool thing. So with the Galaxy S20, even though it's an older phone, I do think that phone holds up very well in a lot of different ways. Now, when it comes down to the price tags, you have to remember the Galaxy S20 is 5 years old. That phone right now costs about $196. The Galaxy S25, on the other hand, costs about $800. So the Galaxy S25 costs about 4 times more than the Galaxy S20. That is without a doubt a massive difference there. And if you're talking about which one's going to be the better value per dollar, the S25 is going to be the better phone, but the S20 might be the better value per dollar in some areas. So that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the cameras, both of them are giving you triple camera setups on the backside. So both of them are giving you, wide or telephoto ultra-wide camera. The megapixel count on the Galaxy S25 is slightly higher. It's actually much higher on that wide angle lens. It's 50 megapixels versus 12. So that is kind of a big thing there. But the functionality should be relatively the same, but the capability is going to be much more on the Galaxy S25. It's a newer phone, newer hardware, newer software features. Very, very big thing to keep in mind. You're getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back, and you're getting 8K capability on the backside as well. Although 8K at 24 frames per second on the Galaxy S20, 8K at 30 frames per second on the Galaxy S25. So because of that better chipset, you do get better capability there, which again, that is another really cool thing going on for this type of phone as well. Now, as you can probably tell, the Galaxy S25 is going to be the better one here from a battery perspective, from a camera perspective, and from a battery perspective, but from a camera perspective. That phone is going to be giving you the overall better camera, better layout. It's just going to be the better one in almost every single way. So if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that is kind of the one that I'd kind of recommend kind of thinking about here, because that is probably going to be the better one in almost every single way. But the Galaxy S20 was actually the first Samsung phone to bring 8K capability filming on the back. So that right there was another really cool thing as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. In terms of software longevity, this is the area where definitely the Samsung Galaxy S25 wins at. The Galaxy S20 is already kind of done getting software updates. No more major updates for that particular software version for that particular phone. And the Galaxy S25 is literally just getting started. That phone, not only is it going to be getting software support still, it's probably going to be one of the longest lasting Android phones. It's going to be giving you 7 major versions of Android. That is massive. Imagine being able to go through and get 7 more years of software updates after you go through and buy a phone. Like, that is monstrous, that is legendary, and that is without a doubt a really cool thing going on for that type of phone as well. Even when it comes down to the battery life, the Galaxy S25 and the S20 have 4,000 mAh batteries, but I just did a battery test between these two phones, and my Galaxy S25 outlasted my Galaxy S20 for so many hours during my test. Like, the Galaxy S20 is definitely, it's a okay performing phone still, but without a doubt, your battery life on the Galaxy S25 is going to be significantly more. It's like not even funny. So if you're wanting the better phone here from a battery perspective, without a doubt, the Galaxy S25 for sure wins. Now finally, with the performance, the Galaxy S25 was giving you the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset inside with 12GB of RAM. The Galaxy S20 was giving you that Snapdragon 865 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM. So definitely I would say on top of those things from the performance side, the Galaxy S20 definitely wins in my personal the Galaxy S25 definitely wins in my personal opinion. The Galaxy S20, for the most part, it was a good performing phone, and even for like a majority of basic type of things you can still do. Like if you're just running like basic applications, basic games, things like that, you're probably still going to have a pretty good time with it. And I think that is actually a really nice thing going on for this type of phone, because it doesn't really require a lot of like insane amounts of power. But if you're wanting the better phone here, without a doubt, it is definitely going to be the Samsung Galaxy S25. That phone is an amazing performing device, and I love that phone so much because of that. So overall, to kind of sum up this whole entire comparison, I definitely will tell you in almost every single way, the Samsung Galaxy S25 is probably the one that is a way better phone here. It's better capability in almost every single way. But the thing you have to keep in mind here is that you don't just have to choose between these two devices. There are a lot of phones in between that I would also recommend buying. I think a phone like a Samsung Galaxy S23, which sits right in the middle of these two phones, is an amazing phone. I love that phone a lot. And that is, without a doubt, one of the better types of phones I'd probably recommend buying. It's still very good, still has a lot of capability and power. And that is a phone I would highly recommend buying too. Same thing with the Samsung Galaxy S24. So for the most part, that's kind of how I see these particular phones kind of holding up and kind of comparing to each other. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.